यशोदानन्दना व्रजजनरञ्जन यमुनातीरवनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे जय जय राधे जय जय श्याम जय जय श्री वृंदावन धाम जय जय राधे जय जय श्याम जय जय श्री वृंदावन धाम जय जय नीमाय जय जय गौर जय जय श्री धाम मायापुर जय नीमाय जय जय गौर जय जय श्री धाम मायापुर हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा कलाचंजी राधा कलाचंजी राधे जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव जय श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And together. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. So we are continuing chapter 2 of Canto 6. Today we'll read verse 20 through 39. So 20 verses.
Sri Shukadev Goswami continued, My dear king, having thus perfectly judged the principles of devotional service with reasoning and arguments, the order carriers of Lord released the Brahmin Ajamil from the bondage of the Yamadutas and saved him from imminent death.
So the soul has been saved by Vishnudutas from the clutches of Yamadutas.
My dear Maharaj Parikshit, O subduer of all enemies, after the servants of Yamaraj has been answered by the order of the carriers of Lord Vishnu, they went to Yamaraj and explained to him everything that had happened.
We should remember Yamaraj is so powerful that even he cannot be hindered by this task that he carries out so efficiently of taking the most sinful living entity's soul. But here the Yamadutas were baffled. First time this happened, and they immediately returned to Yamaraj and they described everything what had happened.
Having been released from the nooses of Yamaraj's servants, the Brahmana Ajamil, now free from fear, came to his senses and immediately offered obeisances to the Vishnuduta by bowing his head at their lotus feet. He was extremely pleased by their presence, for he had seen them save his life from the hands of the servants of Yamaraj.
O sinless Maharaj Parikshit, in the order carriers of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Vishnuduta saw that Ajamil was attempting to say something, thus they suddenly disappeared from his presence. After hearing the discourses between the Yamadutas and the Vishnudutas, Ajamil could understand the religious principles that act under the three modes of material nature. These principles are mentioned in the three Vedas. He could also understand the transcendental religious principles which are above the modes of material nature and which concern the relationships between the living being and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Furthermore, Ajamil heard glorification of the name, fame, qualities, and pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He thus became a perfectly pure devotee. He could then remember his past sinful activities, which he greatly regretted having performed.
6. Ajamil said, Alas, being a servant of my senses, how degraded I became. I fell down from my position as a duly qualified Brahmana and begot children in the womb of a prostitute.
So now Ajamil is regretting all the sinful activities he did in his past. So next few verses also, we'll read how he continues to regret.
Alas, all condemnation upon me. I acted so sinfully that I degraded my family tradition. Indeed, I gave up my chaste and beautiful young wife to have sexual intercourse with a fallen prostitute, accustomed to drinking wine. All condemnation upon me.
My father and mother were old and had no other son or friend to look after them. Because I did not take care of them, they lived with great difficulty. Alas, like an abominable lower-class man, I ungratefully left them in that condition.
And so because his eyes were opened by pure devotees, by Vishnu Dutas, he's now realizing every single duty he did not do as in this body. All the living entities, as a son, as a husband, and as father, he did not fulfill the prescribed duties, and that's why he's continuing to regret. All of that he has missed.
It is now clear that as a consequence of such activities, such a sinful person like me must be thrown into hellish conditions meant for those who have broken religious principles and must there suffer extreme miseries. Was this dream? Huh?
Go ahead.
Was this dream I saw, or was it reality? I saw fearsome men with ropes in their hands coming to arrest me and drag me away. Where are they gone?
And where have those four liberated and very beautiful persons gone, who released me from arrest and saved me from being dragged down to the hellish regions?
I'm certainly most abominable and unfortunate to have merged in an ocean of sinful activities. But nevertheless, because of my previous spiritual activities, I could see those four exalted personalities who came to rescue me. Now I feel exceedingly happy because of their visit.
Were it not for my past devotional service, how could I, a most unclean keeper of a prostitute, have gotten an opportunity to chant the holy name of Vaikuntapati when I was just ready to die? Certainly it could not have been possible.
Ajamil continued, I am a shameless cheater who has killed his Brahminical culture. Indeed, I am sin personified. Where am I in comparison to the all-auspicious chanting of the holy name of Lord Narayan?
Text 35. I am such a sinful person, but since I have now gotten this opportunity, I must completely control my mind, life and senses, and always engage in devotional service so that I may not fall again into the deep darkness and ignorance of material life.
Because of identifying oneself with the body, one is subjected to desires for sense gratification, and thus one engages in many different types of pious and impious action. This is what constitutes material bondage. Now I shall disentangle myself from my material bondage, which has been caused by the Supreme Personality of Godhead's illusory energy in the form of a woman. Being a most fallen soul, I was victimized by the illusory energy, and I have become like a dancing dog led around by a woman's hand. Now I shall give up all lusty desires and free myself from this illusion. I shall become a merciful, well-wishing friend to all living entities and always absorb myself in Krishna consciousness.
So we see how Ajamil, after acknowledging all the past sinful activities he had done, he started regretting. But after that, he realizes that this is an opportunity. After regretting, he is realizing this is an opportunity to become Krishna conscious. And he is talking now in full determination. We'll go to text 38.
Simply because I chanted the holy name of the Lord in the association of devotees, my heart is now becoming purified. Therefore I shall not fall victim again to the false lures of material sense gratification. Now that I have become fixed in the absolute truth, henceforward I shall not identify myself with the body. I shall give up false conceptions of I and mine and fix my mind on the lotus feet of Krishna.
Last.
Because of moment's association with devotees, the Vishnu Dutas, Ajamil detached himself from the material conception of life with determination. Thus freed from all material attraction, he immediately started for Haridwar.
Let's read the invocation prayers and then, let's come back to verse 37. It's a combined verse, 36, 37. This is the focus verse for today. Please repeat after me. Vimucya tam imam bandham avidya kama karmajam sarvabhuta surichanto maitrah karuna atmavan mochaye grastam atmanam yoshin mayatma mayaya vikridito yayevaham krida mriga ivadhamaha. Please recite. Vimucyatamimam bandham avidya kama karmajam sarvabhuta surichanto maitrah karuna atmavan mochaye grastam atmanam yoshin mayatma mayaya vivikridodhyayevaham kridamriga ivadhamaha vimucyatamimam bandham avidya kama karmajam sarvabhuta surichanto maitra karuna atmavan mochaye grastam atmanam yoshe mayayatma mayaya vikridito yayavaham krida mriga ivadhamaha vimucyatamimam bandham avidya kama karmajam sarvabhuta surichanto maitra karuna atmavan mochaye grastam atmanam yoshin maya natma mayaya vikridito yayevaham krida mrigai vivadamaha. Word to word translation. Well, let's read that together. Vimuchya, having become free from, tam, that, imam, this, bandham, bondage, avidya, due to ignorance, kama, due to lusty desire, karmajam, caused by activities, sarvabhuta, of all living entities, surit, friend, shantaha, very peaceful, maitraha, friendly, karunaha, merciful, atmavan, self-realized, mochaye, I shall disentangle, grastam, engaged, atmanam, my soul, yoshit maya, in the form of woman, atma mayaya, by the illusory energy of the Lord, vikriditaha, played with, yaya, by which, ever, certainly, aham, I, krida, mrigaha, a controlled man, iva, like, adhama, so fallen. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jaya. Because of identifying oneself with the body, one is subjected to desires for sense gratification, and thus one engages in many different types of pious and impious action. This is what constitutes material bondage. Now I shall disentangle myself from my material bondage, which has been caused by the Supreme Personality of Godhead's illusory energy in the form of a woman. Being a most fallen soul, I was victimized by the illusory energy and have become like a dancing dog led around by a woman's hand. Now I shall give up all the lusty desires and free myself from this illusion. I shall become a merciful, well-wishing friend to all living entities and always absorb myself in Krishna consciousness. This is a wonderful purport we are going to read. Please be very attentive and try to see what are the points Srila Prabhupada is putting forward. This should be the standard of determination for all Krishna conscious persons. A Krishna conscious person should free himself from the clutches of Maya, and he should also be compassionate to all others suffering in these clutches. The activities of the Krishna consciousness movement are meant not only for oneself but for others also. This is the perfection of Krishna consciousness. One who is interested in his own salvation is not as advanced in Krishna consciousness as one who feels compassion for others and who therefore propagates the Krishna conscious movement. Such an advanced devotee will never fall down, for Krishna will give him special protection. That is the sum and substance of the Krishna conscious movement, Krishna consciousness movement. Everyone is like a play toy in the hands of illusory energy and is acting as she moves him. One should come to Krishna consciousness to release himself and also to release others. Om Ajnanatirmirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svavadant Padantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuda Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadhvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaitva Gatadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Sadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Namo Vishnupadaya. So, last 2-3 verses we read seems like a vow that we have to take. Once we realize that we have committed so many in our past lifetimes, we have committed so many sins. Here we're reading about Ajamil, but here he had the mercy to remember or to realize that he has been very sinful. We don't even realize how many sinful activities we have done. So our situation is even more intense than that. But that is a characteristic of a devotee, that when you come to Krishna consciousness, this mood of regretting that you did not spend each minute remembering Krishna is really important. Because when you are not remembering Krishna, that means you are definitely in Maya. That's what Srila Prabhupada says. It's not me, this is Prabhupada's words. And how do we realize, how do we regret? This is a question for everybody. What makes us feel regret in our heart that we haven't been Krishna conscious? Maybe not that Krishna conscious in the past, or we have done sinful activities. How does that regret actually come, really? In service, in devotional service? Mataji is saying when we have a desire to engage. And the regret actually comes when you start reflecting on your life. When you start reflecting. Reflecting is a very important thing which we need to do as human beings, but as devotees, that from before, like, am I nearing my spiritual goal? This is something we need to ask every single day. Because once we come into Krishna consciousness, we feel, oh, we are at least better than rest of the population, that we are following Krishna. But then we stop moving ahead because we become complacent. When we stop reflecting, we stop growing. Because if I start reflecting, what am I doing with mind, with my actions, with verbally, how am I affecting people around me? Am I motivating them in Krishna consciousness, or am I demotivating them? Especially as devotees, we really need to be careful. How are we with people around us? How are we treating devotees? Especially when we are walking around, we are meeting devotees. There are a lot of times with some people, you'll genuinely feel so happy. Oh, Hare Krishna, we'll be so happy to meet them. And some people, we would probably not feel that much ecstasy. So are we those people around which others are not feeling ecstatic, others are not feeling motivated? That is something we can control. We can't control how others treat us, but we can definitely think about this, that how am I pulling people towards Krishna, or am I pushing them away from Krishna? That is what Prabhupada is saying. That is real compassion. That is a characteristic of an advanced devotee. A normal devotee would just feel, how am I doing in my Krishna consciousness? But an advanced devotee would be concerned about other people's bhakti as well, about their devotional life too. That is the one big distinction you can make. And as devotees, we need to have this power of discrimination. How do we learn how to discriminate? Just like a mother teaches a child what is, these are good habits or these are bad habits. This is not the way to talk to somebody. You should be more respectful. You should appreciate people, or you should be careful of who you're associating with. This is the intelligence a child develops through a mother. And our Shastras, they are our mother. Because they tell us about our father, that is Krishna. So Shastra Chakshu gives us that ability to discriminate what is good for my spiritual life and what is not healthy for my spiritual life. So Ajamil over here has realized that he has wasted so many years in his life just doing everything against what scriptures has prescribed. So he's regretting intensely. He's saying, I should be condemned. I should go to hellish planets. Because now he is in a mood of realizing that he's fallen. But should he stop there? Just, oh, I am so fallen. I am the most fallen person. That's the end of the story? No. Sometimes I see when people are not able to do devotional service intensely because they feel that they're very fallen. But the realization of that I am fallen should help you get closer to Krishna. Because that makes you realize how fallen you are, but how magnanimous Krishna is. How forgiving Krishna is. To realize the magnanimity, how Krishna is so forgiving, how Krishna is extremely merciful, will be together, will coexist with the realization that I am very fallen. And that is what Ajamil is experiencing now. But this realization helps him come to a point of determination. That from now on, I am not going to waste any single minute, a single second, but I am going to be completely surrendered to Krishna. I am going to perform devotional service towards Krishna. So that's what Prabhupada is saying, that this compassion can only come when we are aware of our prescribed duties, when we are aware with what Shastra has prescribed. Just like Vishnu Dutas over here have reminded Ajamil of his past and the fact that he needs to do devotional service, the Vaishnavas around us are playing the same role because they are constantly reminding us that we need to serve Krishna. So they are our Vishnu Dutas, people around us who are reminding us to be close to Krishna, who are reminding us that we do not waste another second. And this is a vow you have to take. At the time of initiation, you took this vow, that you will be fully committed. And that's why when Vishnu Dutas say that Ajamil is trying to speak something, they realize that he wants to glorify the Lord now. So you see the desire to glorify, really glorify the qualities of Krishna comes with so much, when we realize there is so much separation that I'm experiencing from the Lord. Right now we are separated from Krishna because we're not thinking of him at all times. But when we glorify him, we are directly associating with him. And so Vishnu Dutas go away, so because they realize Ajamil is feeling this mood of separation, and they let him glorify the Lord, because in mood of separation, the glorification is extremely intense. Just like, who are those devotees who have, in Bhagavatam that we have read, have experienced intense mood of separation from Krishna? The gopis. But the beauty of bhakti is that they were separate from Krishna physically, like Krishna was not in Vrindavan, so to say, because apparently Krishna never leaves Vrindavan, but because of that pastime, he left for Mathura. The gopis experienced so much separation that they were now constantly associating even more with Krishna. Because wherever they used to go, they used to see a big tree and they used to think this is Shyama Sundar, because trees like blackish, the trunk is little blackish, and that reminded them of Krishna. And they went and hugged the trees. They used to cry in intense separation. And like the tears were not flowing like little, we have like, okay, maybe sometime when we hear pastime of Krishna, we have little bit eyes get welled up. But they were having like big, like bullets of tears were being fired from their eyes. That's the intense separation they were experiencing. But that is how they were constantly associating with Krishna. They used to say, can you say to people around them, can you say something that can make me forget Krishna? We need people to remind us about the Lord, to remind us of His amazing qualities, amazing personality that He is. But they used to tell people, please, I cannot stop thinking about Krishna. Please help me forget Him. Of course, this was a mood. This is to show how exalted they are. They never wanted to forget Krishna. When Radharani had the bee around her, and she's talking to the bee, and she's scolding the bee because she's angry at Krishna, she's missing Krishna, she's experiencing so many emotions, and then she tells the bee to go and go and give a certain message to Krishna. And then the bee, and then she gets suddenly regrets, and she says, no, don't go, because I really miss him, I really love him. Even when Radharani is she's sitting with Krishna, and suddenly this is another pastime where a bee comes, and I think Madhu Mangal comes to put the bee away, and then he's successful at that, and I think he says, I shooed away Madhusudan. Madhusudan has gone, but that's another name for Krishna. And the moment Radharani hears that, she experiences separation. Just by hearing, oh, Krishna is gone. But she's sitting right there with Krishna. This is Prema Vechanta Bhav, like she's experiencing that viraha, separation, even when she's with Krishna, because she cannot handle the thought of not being with Krishna. So here Ajamil has realized that he's so fallen, and he needs to glorify the Lord, he needs to go back to Krishna, and he takes a vow. He's determined. So devotees, do we have that kind of determination? Determination and discipline. Our determination will be steady if there is discipline. There are days we don't feel like, maybe today I feel very enthusiastic about my sadhana, let's say, or I'm very kind to devotees. Maybe tomorrow I have a bad mood, so I'm giving devotees a very hard time. But that's not how an advanced devotee would be. The discipline is important because it helps you follow a certain path in a certain way, no matter what emotional roller coaster you're going through. So I heard this amazing phrase which kind of summarizes this point by His Holiness ISKCON Swami Maharaj. Non-devotees, or I would say not very advanced devotees, would read or understand Shastras through their emotions. But pure devotees would understand their emotions through Shastras. Which means mentally, emotionally, we have so many perceptions, judgments to make, and they're always flawed because we are in this material body, so we will make mistakes, our senses are imperfect. But when we understand through Shastra, we understand our limited capacity to perceive situations. And that is why Shastra Chakshu, which means the scriptural vision, that is something we need to develop. And then everything is taken care of, what we call mental health, emotional health. Everything is taken care of when we understand Shastra. All the questions we keep having in our mind related to life, related to our problems with family, friends, society, everything, with ourselves, even the adhyatmic kalesha, like the adhyatmic misery that we experience, self-inflicted. Through Shastra, You will really experience this when you start reading Purpose of Srila Prabhupada and what Krishna has said in Bhagavad Gita and the experiences of devotees in Bhagavatam. All of this is to help us realize what is the end goal. And it softens our heart. Reading this Hari Katha brings compassion. And the real compassion is, I keep stressing on this point because I feel that this is really important for me, for everybody around me, that real compassion is shown, or your real advancement is shown how you deal with people around you, how you deal with devotees around you. You can't be doing your morning 4 a.m. to 7 a.m., 8 a.m. sadhana and then just give devotees or people around you a hard time. When I say that I'm just reprimanding, scolding people around me, that's because I feel I'm not fallen and others need a tutoring. Others need to be told all the time how they have to do, what they have to do. But would you do that to what is healthy parenting? How would you deal with your child? Would you keep telling them, oh God, I will never give you crayons again because you're such a bad artist. You don't even know how to draw a perfect circle, or you're not coloring inside the line. This is how you should always stand during an aarti. You should always, just stand and do this. Are we creating robots? No. You encourage people. You welcome them. And one thing I've realized, that if you want people to become, let's say, Krishna conscious, you have to first accept them how they are. You have to first accept them. If Prabhupada wouldn't have accepted people, do you think this great Krishna ISKCON would have been there? No, Prabhupada tolerated so many things in people. Lack of time, but fast tracking a short story where there was this once, and I think this was told by Giriraj Swami Maharaj, that there was some devotee named, maybe let's say Bob or Frank, and he was very crazy. He was like, he used to do things a little differently and not following the usual standards of what devotees, the ethics, or let's say some things he used to not follow. And then they all used to complain to Srila Prabhupada that Prabhupada, I think this guy, he sleeps when he comes for Mangalarti, he's not following this, he's not following that, these rules. Prabhupada said, I'm also tolerating you, so you better tolerate that guy. And later on, years later, when Giriraj Swami Maharaj met that devotee, and he didn't recognize him, and he just said, who is this amazing, like this temple, he was the temple president now, that crazy guy. Years later, he became a temple president or some like team council, but very amazing devotee. And Maharaj asked, who is he? And then they told him, this is that guy. And he couldn't believe, but he realized this is the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. The point is that people are tolerating you also. So you need to tolerate people around you. Otherwise, nobody will become Krishna conscious. Nobody will become God conscious at all if you're just reprimanding people all the time and you're not giving them the support. Living in a community, we need to support everybody around us in whatever capacity we can. Whatever. I can support somebody with sweet words. That's the least I can do. I can encourage them. I can appreciate them. Am I losing any money while I do that? Am I losing any fame, position, anything? No. Just appreciating them, supporting them, and then, you know what? When you're loving towards them, they will themselves come and ask you, okay, I want to learn how to do this. Can I learn from you? Because you have created that welcoming, that warmth around you, around that person, to feel comfortable, to able to step up, to learn something. There was a time in my school, I used to hate math. Why? Because of my teacher. Because the teacher was so, you can't ask a question twice if you're confused, like, okay, this person will scold you, this teacher was very short-tempered. And that's why you hesitate. Do we want that? Do we want devotees to experience, or newcomers to experience that they're always walking on eggshells around us? No. We want them to feel like this is the best thing that could have ever happened. That's what Prabhupada wants to give, that experience that Krishna consciousness is the best. But if people practicing are not showing the best of the behavior, then how will others ever feel that? So further in this, in the purport, we see how Ajamil realizes that he's caught in the three modes of material nature, and then he has to transcend that. How is the only way to transcend the three gunas? By performing devotional service. Why is devotional service the topmost? Because it connects you to Krishna. There's nothing else that can re-establish your relationship with the Lord, is performing service for Him. And when you perform service, you also get the mood of surrenderance. At least you start surrendering to Krishna at some level. And also brings the ultimate satisfaction to the soul. Most human beings in the world are just completely dissatisfied. Why are they doing anything to achieve something? Because the secret that they want to achieve is the happiness, the satisfaction. They're not getting that. But how can we get that satisfaction? By performing devotional service. Nothing else can give the satisfaction of the mind, to the heart, to the soul. Because it connects you to Krishna. And so, coming to the point of determination, all of us should have this determination to follow my every minute in my life to preach Krishna consciousness to others and to follow it myself. When you become a great follower, you automatically become a teacher. So don't try to become a teacher by constantly nagging people. I'm sorry, but I see that a lot, so it's just coming. But you become a teacher by becoming a great follower. I'm just reminded, one last thing I will say, and then we'll open for question and answers. This little girl sitting over there, she's been chanting for a couple of days, 16 rounds. She's 6 years old. She's chanting 16 rounds. Look at that determination. I mean, I don't know what I was doing at the age of 6, probably running or just doing something senseless. Kids here in Dham are reciting shlokas, they're sitting in Bhagavatam class, they're doing kirtan, they are chanting. You go out and tell some 40-year-old person to chant, they will not chant one round. I know people, we've been trying to, we try to preach, they can't understand one small thing. They can't chant, but it's okay. Everybody has their own journey. But my point is that kids are doing that, their level of determination. So, what about us? How can we feel more determined? And our determination has a lot of factors that we need to have a discipline. We need to have support system around us. At least some devotees with whom we can feel like, oh, this is my crew. Like, this person motivates me. I'm so lucky to have this person around me. Thank you, Krishna. And so these are our Vishnu Dutas. These are our Vishnu Dutas. We need to see it like that. So I'll pause here because it's almost time and I need to see if there are any questions or any comments. Please go ahead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you for nice class. Can you please define for me again, what exactly do we call devotional service?
Any action that we can do towards Krishna is your service towards the Lord. And because it kind of re-establishes your connection, your relationship, right? Love means service. So devotional service is just you expressing your love to Krishna. Krishna, I love you. So it can be done verbally, it can be done mentally, it can be done physically by doing services. Who would you usually serve naturally? You serve your partner, you serve your children. You know, why naturally? Because you feel that love. But with Krishna, sometimes in material life we have to force it. We get tired and still we are like, okay, let me do it, it's my duty. But with Krishna, when it actually starts coming naturally, that is when you're doing devotional service. So right now we are trying to do devotional service, but you take care of Krishna. When you start taking care of Krishna, like, okay, Krishna likes to do this, let me cook this for him, he likes to eat this. It's getting cold, let me get some warm clothes for him. So this is all serving Krishna. I think that's what, and then the mood of surrenderance comes, that faith is established, that he is there for me. Surat, he's my greatest well-wisher, best friend. So, yeah, that's what I would say. If anybody wants to add anything. Prabhuji.
How does Ajamil know that he's fixed up in the absolute truth? That he says, now I shall disentangle myself from my material bondage. How can he be so confident that, something else, like maybe another situation comes up that might make it difficult for him?
So determination is one thing that is in my control. At least I make a promise that this is how I want to go ahead. Even if situations come, which they will, especially for us, being in a material world, in this material body, but at least making that vow and telling myself that I will handle it by having faith in Krishna, and I will follow basic rules. So Prabhupada says in the purport, in one of the purports that we covered today, that at least follow the basic things of the 4 regulative principles. No illicit sex, no meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication. At least follow, that is the basic. So at least determine yourself to follow that, which I know all of us are following. But always make sure that we are following that. But going ahead, chanting the names of Krishna, preaching Krishna consciousness. And so when you make this your part of life, discipline every single day, it becomes so strongly determined, and then Krishna will take care of it. Any situations that come. Why do you think the son's name was Narayan? Do you think it was all Ajamil's alone self-doing? No, that was also Krishna inspired him from within, that he named his son Narayan. So Krishna knew that situation would come, but still he had a, like what we say, wildcard entry, like he had something to save Ajamil. So Krishna is there in your heart. Sarvasya cham hridisha nivishta mata smriti jnanam apohanam cha. So he will give you remembrance, he will give you forgetfulness, he is sitting right there in your heart. So if you take the determination, so it's not like you take a vow and Krishna wants to test in a negative way, like, let me see, I will fail him. No, he takes test so that you can feel more determined towards him. And you can just be more closer to him. And he will take care of that situation. But I want to do my part where I take a vow. Does that help, Prabhuji? Can we recite the two translations? I really wanted that, because these are like vows, and if we recite that, it's really important. Let me tell you which text. $35. Yeah. You can read 35 and the next one. I would recite it and you can repeat after me. I am such a sinful person. But since I have now gotten this opportunity, I must completely control my mind, life and senses, and always engage in devotional service so that I may not fall again into the deep darkness and ignorance of material life. Can we actually take a vow? Next verse also we are reading. Can we raise our hands and actually take a vow? We're sitting in front of Kalachandji. If you have the guts, raise your hand and take a vow. Because of identifying oneself with the body, one is subjected to desires for sense gratification. And thus one engages in many different types of pious and impious action. This is what constitutes material bondage. So this is, I am body, is the beginning of all the misery, this mentality. Now I shall disentangle myself from my material bondage, which has been caused by the Supreme Personality of Godhead's illusory energy in the form of a woman. Being a most fallen soul, I was victimized by the illusory energy and have become like a dancing dog led around by a woman's hand. Now I shall give up all the lusty desires and free myself from this illusion. I shall become a merciful, well-wishing friend to all living entities and always absorb myself in Krishna consciousness. Now you have taken a vow. Please try to be extremely compassionate. It's the easiest yet the toughest thing to be. All Krishna is saying, you don't need to memorize so many verses, go to Himalayas, just be kind. That's it. That's the only sense control, this is the only tapasya actually we need to do. This is also a tapasya. Be kind, be compassionate, and you will see how you will develop so much taste in Krishna consciousness. So yes, we can actually wrap it up here. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anant Koti Vaishnav Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Radha Kalachandji Ji, Radha Damodar ki jai.
Baba, please take